I am thinking about legs like these my body has. My legs are under these clothes, pants, socks, and shoes. And they help me move along the world in any direction I like. I want to go there, I ask them to take me there, they take me there. I change my mind, I want to go somewhere else, the legs may take me there. I rely on my legs to move me through this physical world. It is a certainty I have come to rely upon in this world, that in the physical world, physically, my legs can take me there. Barring oceans. So I consider it, I feel I've come to consider it like a certainty, as my legs can move me anywhere, and they are reliable. I believe that was not the case before, though. When I had been only newborn, I did not know how to use my legs to walk. I believe it took me months, a year, to properly learn how to balance myself on my legs, to develop the necessary strength in each of them to be able to stand. At first, even to try to roll around with the movement I can figure out how to do with my legs at first. Roll around in the bed, in the cradle. Then perhaps with my arms together, I start to mush around, then maybe crawl around, and realize that if I use the certain specific points in my limbs, and it's easier than just using the whole surface, but rather, okay, hands, knees, feet, okay, I'm moving, okay. I have come to think of it as a sort of a certainty, almost a static process, that of walking. By static, I mean that it's certain, a certain process. That, oh yeah, this is exactly what occurs. I knew how to. How do I walk? I place my left leg. When I have placed enough weight on my left leg, I switch to the right leg. As I am putting my weight on my right leg, I'm preparing my left leg somehow by flexing my knee and preparing to strengthen my muscle, and my brain has figured out, or my leg has figured out, the place where my foot is going to step, and it steps. It is doing a multitasking unconsciously, mostly, that at some time I learned consciously. I figured out first how to strengthen my legs, how to develop them, to exercise them enough to hold my weight. Then once they held my weight, I properly learned to balance on them. At first, like hanging on to some railing or the bed, and then like little by little realizing, okay, I can let go. I can let go. Okay, there's still a balance there. Left, like left, too much weight. No, right. Left. Fall. And then we fall. And we realize, okay, that was, I tried. We can try again. And then again, there's like effort of getting up and trying to be in balance, where neither the left side nor the right side can be allowed to take over. If we lean on the left leg and then we lean on it too much without bringing upon the strength and the power of my right leg, then my left leg alone will my body could move its balance all the way to the left and then realize, and then lose my stability, my body stability, and collapse onto the ground and fall and hurt myself. So if I rely on the left side, if as a child I'm learning to flex my muscles, and then I realize, I can lift, and then realize for some reason that I like my left leg a little bit more, that I like the left step more than I like the right step for somehow. Then I may find that I may get out of balance, and then fall, and then try again, and then realize fall, and then try again, and then realize, and then as I'm falling, I realize, I'm falling, maybe the right leg, and then I put my right leg and I save myself, and then I realize, look at that, my right leg could, the other side, the one I don't like very much, if I put some weight on it, it can balance me out. And then maybe and then I'm on the right side, and then maybe I'm leaning a little bit to the right, and then I learn, but if I use my left leg now, then I switch to the left. And we can go back and forth between that, like leaning on the left, like I said, and then realize, too much, right, gather strength, get to the right side, and then it's twinkling, being there a little, perhaps a little unstable, and then realize, left leg is over. I can realize, go to the left leg. Of course, it's a full suite of muscles that we're using: core muscles, back muscles, neck muscles, all the muscles. The legs are the obvious support though. So now I feel that my legs and my walking is a certain process, a reliable process that I can depend upon, that I can just think about and have them move me with leisure, even whereas before it was this excitement, fear, realization, like, maybe I can walk like adults now, but still, no, I just fell again, and then getting up, and it's exciting, and then when we realize, okay, I've got it, after a few weeks, after a few months of being able to walk, then we forget about the excitement of walking because we moved on to new things. Now, maybe, can I jump? I've seen people jump. What is jumping? And then developing new skills. So on and so on. So now, my unconscious feels it like it's a certain process, and however, it's not. It's a very dynamic process that can fail. I have just learned to be very adept at it. And my failure rate is very, very low. However, it is a dynamic process that unconsciously I have learned to internalize. Internally, my body is going like up, left, right, too much, left, back, up, down, up, up, balance, okay, balance, okay, yeah, good, balance. We don't learn much theory of walking when we're newborn and being children. It's just taught by example. Also, perhaps for that reason, we humans, I believe, do not think about it very much because it's not made conscious. It's just like, well, walk. How walk? Just walk. Just learn. We're doing it, and they kind of figure out how to squiggly squimmy their way up to learning to walk until it's in my body, and then my entire body knows how to walk. I walk. I am constantly shifting my balance, shifting my weight. It's out of my consciousness, but it's in there. It's there, happening all the time. Every person on this planet that knows how to walk has internalized their walking. Likely. Yes, there are people who are not able to walk because their bodies are weak, or because their bodies are not the same shape as mine or as ours. They're missing a leg and something. What I speak calls for two-legged non-infants who know how to walk, who can walk. This holds for the physical plane. And it is my extrapolation that believes this same process occurs in the emotional plane as well. We are learning how to balance ourselves in the emotional plane. And it is not as visible. It is not as obvious as seeing two legs and being able to see how skewed one is, how out of balance, how imbalanced, how much I'm bending my knee, how much do I weigh. These measurable things, in the emotional plane, they are not there. However, I feel that we developed through a process of that kind, of attempting to find balance and skill and aptitude for emotional reliability, emotional power, emotional skill, ability. Say my like my physical ability, my body's ability, I feel it's developed. It feels complete. uh, for this body at the purely physical level. I see. I see development, emotional development happening within myself, and I realize it is similar to legs. The way I see it, though, it's a lovely day out here. The way I see it, humankind as a society, as a species, has not achieved the same level of emotional balance as physical balance. I feel that's almost by the hierarchy of the planes, as in, well, perhaps the physical plane develops first, and then the emotional plane comes along, and then the mental plane comes along. That hierarchy of subtlety feels right. And I focus on the emotional now, because what I notice, what I notice in myself, and what I extrapolate onto other human beings, is we don't know that we would like to achieve emotional balance, that we would like to achieve emotional strength, aptitude. It's just, emotions are just in the common, what is it, knowledge base? In the common knowledge base, like common sense knowledge. The idea is emotions are there, and sometimes we don't want them to be there, but they're there, and we gotta deal with them somehow. But they're cool because sometimes we're joyful, and sometimes we're excited, and sometimes we're horny, and at the emotional plane, not just in the physical plane. And it's fun, and we do things, and it feels good. But when I'm sad and when I'm angry, I don't want these emotions. What am I doing these emotions? I don't want them. Resentful or jealous or envious, they're just there, and they seem to take over us. And they're like, sometimes overwhelm us, and we do not know what to do. It seems to me we are learning as a species to develop our emotions. At first realize that it's an important topic, that it's part of our development. Secondly, to discern what are the emotions that are happening within that we feel. And to discern, actually, before that even, we need to accept that we're not going to ignore them, that we are willing to go in and look at them and examine them. And I would say that is the step, that is the main filter step in humankind. Because the way I see it, many of us humans grow up and hurt ourselves emotionally. And because it is not visible, because it does not hurt the body because it does not make a visible mark because and because probably others do not know what has happened, it is not identified as an emotional imbalance. It's just identified as, oh, I hurt myself, and oh, whatever, get over it, get over it. Stop crying, don't be sad. Oh, it's nothing. And then we're like, okay, then I guess it doesn't matter then. You hurt my feelings. You said I was stupid, but I feel sad, but it doesn't matter. You told me it doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna hide it. It's in there. What is it? But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And by that, by that expression of, by that learned belief that it doesn't matter, that it's something not to be worried about, like, oh, the adults don't worry about it, oh, then I won't worry about it, even though I really feel it strongly. But I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm good. When I want to cry, I'm like, but I don't want to cry. I don't have to cry. Okay. Okay. We harden, and we learn how to hide it, how to cover it, and if there is pending energy there that we did not fully cover, that we cannot hold in that moment, we just redirect it somewhere. Look, my dude, it's your fault. Or oh, it's my fault. I'm so stupid. And then there's another emotion which you can also learn to ignore, which would be a layer on top of that one. And that happens repeatedly. And we either don't know how to seek for help, or there's no one around who knows actually what's going on, because many of us just are not sensitive to such, 22, sensitive to emotions. We have sensibility to emotions. There is. I have found it at first astonishing, and then later on, like, oh, it seems confirmed that I feel other people's emotions as they are fairly nearby. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's like this tension between two people, sometimes it's lust. And I was just like, oh, I feel what is happening in the people around me. So I feel our perceptions are also developing in parallel and helping each other. Our sensitivity with our balance, tuck, tuck, tuck. Like a plant growing in zigzag, which they do. And their stems, it's pretty fun. Take a look. Mostly when they are tender in spring. You see how their growth is zigzaggy. Zig, 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 zig. It's a freaking beautiful day. So, emotions, imbalance, hiding. Oh yeah. I feel that we hide them, that we learn to hide them. And then, as physics has described, sometimes matter is not created nor destroyed. Energy is not created nor destroyed. That covered energy isn't going anywhere until we do something about it. It stays there. It stays there, and it's covered, and each time that we go near it, either intentionally or accidentally, it hurts again, because that is the feeling that was there, and then we choose to cover it again to avoid the pain, or because we're busy doing something else and we cover it, or it hurts too much and we can't stand it, and we're like, we get away. Anyway, I feel that's why accepting emotions is one of the main filters for humans today to identify their emotions, because looking inside often hurts when one is just littered with emotional wounds all around. Not giving a chance to heal. The wounds need air to heal. They need light, maybe? In the emotional plane, my experience is that they require awareness. They require them being seen, their emotions being felt. As they are felt, they are processed. So yes, once they are identified within us, then you can realize, okay, that's that emotion. All right, okay. So yeah, first what is it? Acceptance, was it? Was that the first step? I don't remember. Say it's the first step or the second step. So acceptance comes to like, okay, I'm gonna look inside, and then that's when people are like, okay, I'm gonna go see a therapist, or okay, I'm gonna go see if reading this book helps, or maybe this special diet helps, or something like they're like there's an acceptance of a problem. Aren't these like the steps to alcoholism? No, first there's denial, then there's acceptance, for the stages of grief. River, sparkling river, with sunny waves. Okay. So after we've accepted everyone to look at our emotions, and then we do the actual a little bit of searching, and then okay, identification. Okay, yes, I am hurt because in fourth grade I was pushed around and everyone laughed at me, and I felt hopeless, and then the adults told me that told everyone that it was fine, that it didn't matter. And I didn't got hurt because I got hurt, and I didn't do anything towards it. Like there's a hurt. Why did that hurt come? Well, I guess it's violation of a boundary, perhaps. Of a natural boundary of not getting hurt by others. So identification. And then once we identify them, there being a willingness to look deep into them, because identification can happen at the mental level. Just like, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah, that was 20 years ago. It's fine. And you still have the emotional cover on top of it. I said I was going to stay around here. Rock. Yes, rock. Rock. But then, past the mental identification, there is the actual emotional processing. The emotional feeling of the feelings. And that requires feeling that same hurt that caused it. The original hurt that's still there. That's, as much as I know, the way to process feelings, to feel them. And so we remember them, and then we feel them, and then they are expressed. Usually, when emotions are processed through the body, they get expressed. Oh my God, it's a beautiful background. Take a look at that. Yes. Then what are that? This. They will be felt. They will be processed. And they will be expressed. And there may be crying. And there may be shouting. And there may be sullen silence. Or there may be blaming. There may be dizziness, bodily weakness, something goes through. When it is allowed to flow, as it does, in the whichever way it does, it goes away. It's like a bit of pus that we had in there, and then it's closed and it's like in this thing. Then eventually we go into it and we're like, oh, you're there, and that the pus flows out in the channel that we just went into infinite, where the awareness went in, and then goes out, and then that usually pus is something we don't want to, so it's stuck and it feels bad and it's that's the nature of pus, and it's within us, and if we want it out, it's got to move. Moving, and then once it moves, well, we may heal. Oh my. Screenshot. There. Screenshot. Moving. Yes, once it moves, then in my experience, it often takes more than one set of feeling a thing, feeling a wound. And often it's like, okay, the first flow came out, it's like, lots of crying, lots of sadness, and then it's like, okay, it's over. And we think, and I have thought like, okay, it's done. It feels so much cleaner now. And then a few days later, weeks later, or months later, something else triggers it very specifically. I'm like, and I again feel it. I'm like, why? I thought I had felt this. I thought I was over with this. Oh man, there's like a snail there. Oh, but it's. Oh, I had no idea whether that's a live animal. Oh well, you stay there. Yeah, sometimes a second time comes along and I feel like, why? It was supposed to be done. I see it that perhaps, the big blob of pus came out in the first looking at it. However, maybe there was a secondary bubble that had already developed right next to it, or just maybe not everything went out, because maybe it had a weird shape and then bits of it got stuck in the corners, and then you need like another looking at it, another opportunity to pierce it, because once yes, and then the second time it might not be as strong. It's usually not as strong. Can it be stronger? Not in my experience. It's just tends to be less intense, yet just as true, just as true, the feeling. Maybe it has been more intense sometimes. after enough feeling of the wound, refeeling, it can heal. It can come a time when I relive a memory, even if it where perhaps before a memory was stuck, and every time that I exhibited some kind of pattern of behavior, like I asked the woman out and they said a particular thing, of avoidant words, I would remember a memory when that had happened, and I was very frustrated, and I was immediately got really sad, really angry. And now I notice sometimes I've run into this situation. Actually, that situation is very similar to what I experienced. And now I've run into this situation and I feel like, okay, cool, yeah. No problem. And truly feel it. Truly feel that my emotions are just fine. Like maybe a tiny speck of the emotion in the distance, like, oh yeah, that was what I used to feel. All right. Well, now it does not take over me. You know, it's just sometimes memories even vanish. Sometimes they were these very intense memories that held a lot of emotion, and then after seeing it enough times, after feeling it enough, it just, the energy dissipates, and the memory does not come to me often anymore. It's just, it becomes almost just the memory of the memory. Oh, cool, I found a circle with a very exuberant tree in the middle. And the sun. Yes, in the sun. So follow the sun. Where am I going with this? This has been a long emotional topic detour from the original one I was stating, legs. Because my feeling is that each of these wounds that we accumulate is a hurt that can prevent us from developing emotionally further. Like if in the physical sense, in the physical world, I am trying to learn to run, and as I'm doing it, and as I'm excited, trying to like, I'm gonna pull, I fall down and I crash my face, and I get a pretty strong accident. Then I might not want to run again. Or when I run, I might be just scared about it and feel stressed. Okay, I'm running, just a little bit. Okay, I'm done. Okay, good. In a similar way to the emotional wound, the physical wound also stays. There are some people who say they can, after a bike accident, they are unwilling to get up on a bike. That was not my case. I had a bike accident, and then I felt much the same about bikes. What I mean is these hurtful memories stay, and they prevent us from furthering our development. If a person has a bike accident and then is emotionally unable, like unwilling to use a bike again, then that is hindering that person's development to ride a bike, which in turn can hinder his or her development to other stuff. Going on bike rides, meeting certain people, catching the train on time. My feeling is that in the natural development that our emotional beings are attempting to grow through is similar to that I imagine some of our ancestors had when they were learning to walk on two legs. I don't know how it was. I don't remember. I don't remember being there. Oh. However, I feel there must have been a time of suspicion of using two legs and of certain hesitance to go there to do that because people were not used to that. They're calling people at that point. Were the beings. The beings were not used to it. The beings maybe did not see so much benefit in it. And then there were some who actually, they went through and did it. And they engendered us, and we have been fairly successful as a species. Successful in the matter of influence. And I believe also as development as an alive being. As an alive species. I notice that in society, people tend to lean on particular certainties in the emotional plane that I see as a version of crutches that allow people to move through the emotional plane with much less risk of falling, with much less risk of hurting themselves. These certainties, I see them as acquired by family, by tribe, by whoever's around. And yeah, they take the form of certainties of, oh, this thing is always the good thing, or this thing is always the bad thing, or siding with things, or of necessary behavior in certain occasions, like things that must be done, things that are because they just have to be true. It can be as, I don't know what I would say, basic, raw, I feel, cliche as being a die-hard fan for the, I don't know, Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings. That's the best team in the world. Even though there is very little, what is it, American football? American football going on in the rest of the world. But it's the best team in the world. It's like, oh, that's a certainty. That's my certainty. And that I will, and I can depend on it. And it doesn't. I guess it doesn't easily translate to a crutch. As in, how is being Minnesota Vikings fan a crutch? It's a crutch because if one holds to that belief, one does not need to choose in moment to moment. One does not need to choose whether, oh, do I like them today? Do I like them, or do I like them today? Or did they play well? If I'm a fan, of course they play well. And if they lost, then well, it was this. It was the referee's fault, or they didn't know what they were, or they didn't bring in the best player, or the other got lucky, or the player is stressed because he's having a big $1 million court case. Like excuses will be made and blame will be thrown out to protect the integrity of that certainty, of that crutch, because that crutch allows them to move through the emotional world without being hurt. If I were to be a die-hard Minnesota Vikings fan, Minnesota Vikings, just for example, that comes to me from How I Met Your Mother. Do you hear the bird? Wee, 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 wee. It's a crutch. It's a crutch because they don't need to change. That is unchangeable. And that is something that they can like feed upon. They can feed excitement upon it. When there's a game of Minnesota Vikings, go Vikings! And like I can put my energy there fully certainly that it's a good investment of energy. Why? Because it's the Minnesota Vikings. And then we'll be with friends, and that's the thing to do. I don't have to choose what to do. What to do? Oh, the game of the Vikings, of course. It's a certainty that can be relied upon. They won. Yeah. I milk excitement out of that. They lost. Oh, it's someone else's fault. But the Vikings are the best. It's like a crutch that we hold on to. That allows us to believe emotional certainties. And if I were to change my belief, if I were a fan, and then they lost, and I were to not redirect the blame somewhere else, if I didn't have any excuses at all to protect this certain fanatism, then it hurts. It hurts to see that this team, this object in the world that I felt devotion to, that the certainty was they are the best. The certainty was I don't know, I love them. The certainty was that is where my devotion goes. And then suddenly realizing even for a split second, oh, maybe they're not worthy of that devotion, or maybe they just lost. They lost. And not being able to redirect it somewhere else, not being able to blame, it will hurt. It will hurt. It's like I was relying on this, and I go, and then I fall. It hurts. It hurts because it was proven wrong. That belief was proven wrong. If I have the crutch, then I can deny that. I can deny any opposition to this belief and continue on with the world. And it's like an anchor that we hold on to. Wow, this is the best. Or what's another example of a crutch? Like, they can be so subtle. It's even a crutch to think things like, Like the best form of lifestyle is, for example, to believe that a certain form of lifestyle is the best one. Like the lifestyle, the best lifestyle is to mm, have a lot of money and have a spouse and have 2 children and live in the suburbs, not too far away from the city because we want to be able to go to all the events, but not too in the city because it gets crowded. And that's the lifestyle I want. Yes, and it needs to be a city that's clean and it's full, that's not full of crime, and that's not dirty and not many homeless people. Okay, yeah, that's the lifestyle. I got way too specific there. Just believing that a family lifestyle um, with a spouse, with 2 children, and with financial prosperity, that's the best. That's all. That's all there is in this. If that's the goal of life. And I see sometimes that people just subconsciously believe it. Perhaps not having often questioned it, perhaps just absorbing the belief via society, because it seems that so many things in the world seem to point to that's a lifestyle. For example, stable, maybe romantic, uh, first excitement, vacations, taking new things, and then get married, have children, and then all the parents they know each other, and the children know each other, and they grow up together, and it's this dream lifestyle. Having that as a crutch, it diminishes the effort that we need to be doing in the emotional level on a moment-to-moment basis. Because we don't need to question what's going on. We just have it. Like that's the aim. That's the goal. Full on. No doubt about it. And if I do that, then I win. It's like, like that's the usual belief I find. Like it's kind of like I'm good. I'm good. If I do that, I'm good. Change of hands. Staying tired. Ow. Emotional crutches. Like an emotional crutch similar to that one that I feel I had was my goal is to find a woman and have an idyllic, romantic, and sexual connection with her that lasts a very long time, maybe forever. Disney style. Where Disney does not include the sexual. Oh man, that hawk. That is not the sound that hawk makes. That's the sound that I make. Now that's a bird. I don't think it's that one now. That was kind of like a crutch I had. To me, it was not so much of a crutch, it was rather like something that was pulling on me all the time. Because it was in the emotional level, it was a crutch. I didn't need to figure it out. It was already figured out for me. Disney taught me that's the way to go. And then I felt, okay, that's the way to go. And that's what I did. see them similar to legs because when I see people choosing to shift one of these emotional certainties, one of these emotional anchors, to shift it often takes the shape of the opposite. Like it was a stuck spring that was too collapsed, and then when you realize, oh, it's collapsed, I can unspring it. Oh, it will explode out until its full length, and then the spring analogy doesn't hold there. But then I feel that it's often the case that people will they were like kind of here, leaning over here with this crutch, and then when I realized, oh, I've been leaning on this thing and it doesn't work for whatever reason they found. Oh, it's okay, that's not working. And then they go the opposite direction because that's a natural thing to do, right? I'm going too much in this direction. What to do? Opposite. It will balance it out. And then oftentimes, if there was fanatism on one side, it happens that the fanatism happens on the other side. I don't think that happens with sports teams. That is, I don't know. But it happens with some other things, like after a person has devoted themselves entirely to, I don't know, to a certain relationship perhaps, and thinking, oh, this is my girlfriend of 12 years and we're going to get married, and then suddenly, oh, she just had a change of heart and now we're not together. Like, oh, this lifestyle, it sucks, it doesn't work. I was giving it all my all and now it doesn't work. Okay, nothing matters. And then there's a half nihilistic version for a little while, like nothing matters, and then, okay, I'm going to do the exact opposite and try to like bar all possible long-term relationships and just be flirting around, sleeping around, and not caring about long term. And it's like, oh, don't you? Can I leave a toothbrush at your place? And he's like, they usually don't like it. Oh my God! Look at that color. It's red. It's red. It's bright red. A little dark red. Red. Spring is blooming colorfully. Sometimes I've noticed similar discernments in me at the emotional level. Sometimes there is, I have shame of something, and then I'm kind of leaning on that shame on the side of like, oh, I'm ashamed. That is something to be ashamed of. That experience I had when I was 16 years old, that was shameful. And then, that's how I see. I just learned something as a cameraographer. If I want to show myself leaning left, then lean the camera left too. Just lean myself. If I'm leaning on shame and I'm ashamed of that experience, and then I go and feel it and I realize, oh, it was the shame. It was holding me back. It wasn't allowing me to do what I want. Okay, now then I'm going to do the other one. Then left. And then for a little while, sometimes I feel like I want to show it to everyone. Like, look at this thing that I found. Look at this thing that I found. Look at this thing that I found in me. I've had this feeling of like I want to share this moment that was shameful before. Suddenly I'm a little proud of it. I'm like, oh, look at this thing. What I see there is that I seem to have like stepped somewhere between. There's a dog there. a dog that looks very similar to a statue of a dog. Funny. Like I seem to have shifted between shame and pride of the thing. Like, oh, shame, and then it was like my left leg going like, oh, too much, and then too much. And then I grab the right leg, which in this analogy is pride, and then I'm like, oh, I take it a little bit, and then I start telling it to people, and then some of them go like, oh, cool, and then some people will like, okay, they really don't care about it, and then little by little, perhaps I realize it's not as special as my pride makes it to be. And then maybe I go a little bit on the other side. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna tell everyone. I'm a little ashamed of it, but it's not as much as before because I'm unconscious of it. And then maybe I can move it around, shift it until I realize, oh, okay, yeah, it's just a memory. It can balance itself out into nothing if it's a particular memory. These days, when I notice my own, oh man, look at those spirals and curves. Spiral, circle, spirals. Says Estas Tone. And a bee. Una abeja avícola or apícola. 1, 2, 4. When I notice sometimes my own emotions in my day, I notice myself sometimes like leaning back and forth, left and right, somewhere in between the extremes. And I've noticed it when in a very short time span, where the examples before I was using are about long time spans, where okay, it takes days, weeks, months to go from one side to the other. Sometimes I notice that it happens even when I'm on the train, for example, and I do something that I know is other people do not usually do. Like today, I sat on the floor, and I felt like, yeah, this is very comfortable. And then some part of me started being like, oh, are you sure you want to do this? Aren't people going to be looking at me strangely? And then another part of me goes and says like, no, it's all right. You're an individual free being. You do whatever you want. And then the other side is like, oh, really independent free being. What are you talking about? Aren't you so arrogant? Not loudly, but like in these very, very soft, subtle voices of like, and I'm like, and I find myself able to follow that scene, follow that dialogue in between the different voices that have developed within me. The voice that says,